Good afternoon on what is a warm, bright and blustery day. It is Tuesday the 18th of April. I'm in the reading up a nice hot cup of tea and a game I want to unbox, which is this Dragonstar Rising, a game of Man-to-Man Power Armour Combat from Leading Edge Games. So, the free seven worlds, the oppressive Star Guild Imperium, and the alien warlike Dragon Quest. The warriors of three mighty empires fight for the future of humanity beneath the light of the Dragonstar. So, Dragonstar Rising, by the light of the Dragonstar, the free seven worlds system, guardian of humanity's greatest dreams, faces the immense power of two vast star empires. The oppressive Star Guild Imperium has an unending supply of soldiers and equipment and is bent on complete conquest of the system. The alien Dragon Quests know only war and invaded one of the seven worlds in force. Badly outnumbered and outgunned, the elite warriors of the seven worlds have one advantage: the Dragonstar teleport devices. On planet after planet, using their interstellar strike rails and the power of the Dragonstars, squads of powered armour warriors and their supporting infantry fight to defend the seven worlds. On long raids into Star Guild territory, they battle to disrupt the Imperial advance, disabling jump craft, raiding forward outposts and attacking Imperial staging areas. In their own systems, they confront the Dragon Quest in the desperate defence of the beleaguered world of Alpha. Over every battlefield burns the Dragonstar, the brilliant ball of energy that bursts into the sky whenever the teleporting device is used. When the Dragonstar rises, entire worlds pause, because the fate and the future of humanity depend on the battles fought by its light. Okay, take your place beneath the Dragonstar, whether as one of the heroes of the Seven Worlds, an elite warrior of the Star Guild Imperium, or even a reptilian Dragon Quest. Your skill and decisions will determine the victory in the battles that shape the future. Dragonstar Rising presents the fascinating story of the early years of the Seven Worlds. The background and history of all the combatants are covered in detail, as are the innovative technologies used, the devastating abilities of the living steel power armour, complete with maps and counters. Dragonstar Rising features fast, highly realistic rules that capture the energy of high-tech combat without sacrificing fun or ease of play. Compatible with Living Steel, Dragonstar Rising is the ideal game for everyone who wants to share in the saga of the Seven Worlds. So it includes background and scenario book, combat system, 2 game maps, 392 die-cut counters, 10-sided die. So, that's the blurb. Now, this is from Leading Edge Games, a company actually set up by a genuine rocket scientist. He did work for NASA, the company is best known for 2 things. First off is Phoenix Command, which is a detailed man-to-man combat system, especially focusing on the use of firearms, and the Aliens role-playing game. It's the first Aliens role-playing game specifically based upon the film Aliens. You played colonial marines, and that's it. But in addition, Leading Edge also produced a number of smaller licensed role-playing games as well as Aliens. So we're thinking the Lawnmower Man role-playing game, the Dracula role-playing game based upon the film directed by Francis Ford Coppola, and they also did a Terminator set of miniatures rules. Surprisingly didn't do a role-playing based on that. We had to wait until Nightfall Games and 2020 for that to appear. And then there's also their own singular one setting, which is the planet Rand, and it's really based around 2 role-playing games. One is Living Steel, which I think it came second, and the other one is Rand Morningstar Missions. And Rand Morningstar Missions is an odd game in that you play sort of like you've been warriors and adventurers and so on, who reside in a citadel in the sky, which has the capacity to teleport you to the planet, but not effectively. You can't get everywhere because it's partly broken. And essentially, it is a post-apocalyptic setting, far in the future, of the first game, Living Steel, which is where you role-play the essentially the pilots of these combat armor, which is based in this game. So there was a core role-playing game, and then there's a scenario called Kavizza Rocks, but this is the board game. So let's have a look inside, where I attempt to show you without everything going everywhere. And I think I'm going to be good because it's been zip-locked. Okay. you know, it's in a Ziploc bag. You've got all the counters there, and then we have the rule book, I'm presuming, and everything from, I say everything. A lot of the books from Leading Edge Games came spiral bound. Some of the later ones didn't, Aliens didn't, and the licensed role-playing games didn't. But their own games like Rand, Morningstar Missions, and you know, and this did. So, and it, the house style was really kind of open, and it always looked like this. With the marginalia, you know, the margins used for quotes and the like. So here we've got the introduction, discussion of the great powers, and that's the dragon crest, and they're the big invaders in Living Steel. They're the ones that sort of like, you know, are attacking the world. We've got the guide to Dragonstar Rising there before we get into the basic rules. So, discussion of the components, counters, what the markings on the counters mean, stats and log sheets. Oh yeah, you know, so this is a science fiction war game, facing and movement, and these are really very well laid out books, generally clearly presented and written. Decent illustrations. You know, it's so there's quite a bit here to go through. You know, firing, hit location, and damage. It's not going to be anywhere near as complex as you're going to get with Aliens, the role-playing game, and also Phoenix Command. I mean, in Phoenix Command, game turns sort of like are sort of like 1 or 2 seconds, and it's just sort of like that can take sort of like quite a long time to get through. You have this signature kind of style weaponry, and that's what one of the Living Steel suits looks like. And then you know, on the back you've got battle pack bays for ammunition, belt feed, you know, and so on. And then we've got staff scenarios. So the rules aren't actually that long, just a few pages long. So that's it. So you can get started after you've read through sort of like 10 pages. And then we have an example of a 7 Worlds Power Armour status sheet. So we are really kind of put it in this sort of like this, definitely man-to-man or suit-to-suit combat. You're thinking of things there like Battle Suit, which is part of the Ogre universe from Steve Jackson Games, and then also the most obvious one here is BattleTech, but where BattleTech you're piloting a 10 feet anywhere, a battle mech which is anywhere between 10 and 30 feet tall. Here you are piloting a suit which is about 10 feet tall. And here we have the weaponry, and you can see how this is all kind of done on computers. So there's kind of straight lines, and you know, there's sort of like very little ergonomic element to it. So yeah, you know, so lots of tables as well to refer to. The weapons are quite detailed. Power armor hit location and damage table. And then we do have advanced rules. So this involves the use of, you know, things like combat drugs, and you've got more. I mean, once you've got illustrations, they're actually really pretty decent. Auxiliary packs which you can place on the armor, and other equipment. Troop types which can fight alongside you. Cord shots. So we've got medical aid, stray shots, and you've got examples throughout as well. Details, throwing in smoke, machine gun emplacements, and then we have missions and scenarios. And then we've got a silver sword dragon. It's one of the classic pieces of artwork from the game. And for example, here's a 7 swords flechette machine pistol. As I say, really designed to go with the suits, not what you would necessarily use hand to hand, because they're about as they're about as ergonomic as a brick. And then here we have Dragon Quest encounters, so dealing with the reptilian invaders, and then we go on to the campaign setting. And then we've got rule guidance here for using Dragonstar Rising with Living Still, the role-playing game. And then the history of the 7 worlds. Taking us from the age of space on the 20th century, through the corporate wars, trying to find what there's a different year. So we're going through 2079, Second Corporate Wars, and so on. Growth of the Imperium, 2109. Dawn of the 7 Worlds, 2163. So it's not actually it's not that far into the future, but it's actually quite advanced. The advances in technology do feel sort of like a bit hopeful than a bit more advanced than they might be. And then we've got a timeline, which runs from 2025 through to 2192. Discussion of the technology. So there's a huge amount of background in this box set as well. It's so you've got a complete guide. You've got the stats for the weapons here. Here's the guide to the weapons as well. So this is all quite detailed. Cultures of people. This is the people obviously you are protecting or trying to capture. Also, and notes on the Dragonstar, how that made people feel better, how it's liked, touched upon people. When basically the teleportation devices, activated, it flared. It meant people were the living steel members of the living steel were the 7 swords. Powered armor users are going off to save people. So yes, and then we've got wars with the Dragon Quest, with the reptilian invaders, and the Star Guild Imperium. So lots of background information in here. Also the martial houses. And then the Dragon Quest in particular, including their suits of armour. Again, fairly kind of boxy, sort of like equipment again. So yeah, and then we've got kind of sheets for tracking things. That's an incapacitate, non-powered infantry log sheet, powered armour sheet, status sheets, and for both 7 Worlds and Star Guild. And then the Dragon Quest as well. So yeah, that's the core rulebook. What else have we got beneath that? Maps. So you can see up the kind of scale you're playing. This is let's say man-to-man. These are decent enough. I hope you can see that. If I can fold this back down again. So that's one map. We've got a second map as well. And you've got an extensive building here, a bit more, almost like, basically a university or, conference centre or something, or a school. And again, with this sort of thing, you could easily, find other maps that, they don't look okay. So yeah, and then you've just got various reference sheets. So you know, for example, there's that's the Seven Worlds Power Armour status sheet, and you have Legionnaire, which is the official Leading Edge Games Legionnaire newsletter, an order form. Bit of an advert, so you've got the Leading Edge Games advert for Living Steel, Miniatures Case, and Phoenix Command as well. So yeah, just about everything you need is in here. The only thing in here you doesn't have is a 10-sided die, but you know that's not too difficult to source. So Dragonstar Rising, let's be quite complete. The game of Man-to-Man Armoured Combat from Leading Edge Games, that published when 1987. So yeah, that's older than I thought it was. I thought it was early 90s, but yeah, this is before Leading Edge Games sort of specialised in licenses. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this unboxing in the Nook. If you have, then please do click on the like button down below. And of course, if you've got any comments or feedback, I do appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings at the Nook, where you'll see me out here with a box or a game which I'll unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge, all of course accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea, then please do hit the subscribe button down below. Thanks again for watching another unboxing of the Nook. Be back again soon with another one.